Whew. Greetings, boy, God. Peace and greetings. Give an honor to the source, give an honor to the ancestors known and unknown. Whew. This is going to be very touching and more so graphic. I just got my water, speak life. This is going to be one for the something, folks. Come on. Y'all bear with me. If you see me swinging, those of you that have watched videos, mosquito. But anywho, so today, the topics. If those of you are just coming in, and if you don't know, have I said, yeah, give an honor to the source, divine mother, divine father. Give an honor to ancestors known and unknown. Give an honor to the all, to source, everything. Those that came before us, yeah. Okay, hold on, because I'm a little hot, but anywho, okay. So those of you that don't know, I created this masterpiece again. I was called something in me to create these healing arts, and in that, this one is centered around heartstrings. So this one today, the focus, the topics, as you can see, these heartstrings, we have naturally connected ourselves, whether it's through emotional attachments. There are invisible heartstrings that connects us. So a lot of you that don't know what some things where you feel like stagnant or you can't free yourself from, it has a lot to do with what we have emotionally, through time from our mothers and fathers, through experiences, how we have binded ourselves or have these invisible strings from our hearts to them that creates, over time, whether the relationship is healthy or not, trauma bonds, attachments, a lot of things. So these strings are things that, again, we can create blockages in our bodies, in our heart chakras, that won't allow us to actually move forward, progress, ascend. And a lot of that can happen through forgiveness, acceptance. And a lot of us don't know that way, and a lot of us haven't seen it. So today I'm here to aid you in that. And the topics we have here today is, okay, that light, that says guilt, shame, childhood, what is that? Oh, guilt, shame, abandonment, childhood issues. Okay, and then the other one we have here is emotional attachments, childhood wounds, and relationships. Emotional attachments, childhood wounds, and the relationships that, again, as I was speaking on that, keeps us in a place of feeling like, why is in my life this way? Why can I progress? What do I need to do? And a lot of us go through this healing journey, awakening journey, ascending journey that a lot of us are new to now, to see why it is we had to break these, some may call it generational curses, generational chains, help aid in the health of our families. The other one here is very deep. The sexual abuser, verbal abuser, and bully. So when I say sexual abuser, this is people that have experienced this. The verbal abuser as well, and the bully. A lot of our first bullies were our mothers and fathers. And so that verbal abuse, whether, you're not shit, or yada yada, do this and do that. And then even the sexual abuser is the person that, this topic is going to be very interesting, because it's going to be talking about a lot of stuff in regards to that. So what I'm going to speak on first, and we'll get to the process of why this yarn is here in the heart. So the first one, which one could I speak on? Because all of them kind of connect in a way, but we're still going to release it, let it go. Sexual abuser. So I, for those of you that don't know about videos I've had before, talked about this topic of sexual abuser. Being sexually abused or being exposed to, some of us have been exposed to porn early. Some of us have been exposed to molestation. A lot of things that what I've learned over time, and You know, from a lot of stories that I've heard from people, a lot of this has happened in childhood. A lot of this can even happen from teachers. You know, you name it, it could have happened from a lot of things. You know, and this is just, you know, if it doesn't pertain to you, let it fly. But this is, again, aiding those that you too can get past this. Because what I've noticed is that I've experienced how, or talked to others about how their experiences with sex in itself, that is something that a lot of us that go through this spiritual journey are healing from molestation or certain things as such. We come to this awareness on how it actually has caused so much anxiety, manipulation through sexual deeds, whether it be prostitution, whether it be giving ourselves, you know, unwillingly, or opening ourselves up to people who are not worthy. And that's simply because what we valued was, some of us feel like it was stolen or stripped away from us, or, you know, taken. And so in that, a part of us is still trying to recover that through an unfulfillment place, or unfulfilling place, to where when that trauma is created, a lot of people battle with, you know, the spiritual warfare of trying to feel accepted, feel that void of feeling wanted or needed. And so what that happens with, when a lot of this happens, and who it's done by, because again, a lot of people don't speak on this, but this happens in families a lot. This has happened through cultures. This has happened ancestrally. This has happened through a lot of ways, to where you have a lot of even marriages. This is just coming to me. You have a lot of relationships that people never, you know, they keep these people, or they use their sex in a way to lure people in. They use more their physical appearance, and this is not everyone, but basically in a way to lure people in. And, you know, with this, people that don't know about this research, like Jezebel, you know, or jinn, or succubus energies, that allows people to think that, you know, they're really being themselves, but the inauthentic self is trying to people please and pleasing others through sexual deeds. So in that, you know, I've had a lot of stories with people that are now at certain ages. It don't matter your age. A lot of people have experienced this, to where they're living out this thing. Some people have probably like left this earth transition without even telling someone. You have a lot of untold stories about this. You have a lot of women and men who co-create from a place of just more of a physical, you know, surface area, rather than the spiritual aspect of seeing themselves. And it's not for them to blame. It's not, you know, anyone's to, you know, fault in it. And again, this can be perceived so differently from a lot of people. But what I'm here to aid a lot of people in is that you no longer have to become subjected or victimized, because the day we are burning and cutting and burning and letting go of the ties to your sexual abuser, and no longer looking back, whomever that is. And you can do this for yourself. You can write it down, write a letter to yourself, because a lot of people get to that place that they don't feel worthy, and they never really told their partner. They never really be honest with themselves to feel like, am I worthy? Because I had to get to that place within myself. Am I worthy again to have this exchange? You know, am I more focused on the outcome? And you know, do I see myself sacred? You know, because it's different for everyone. They go through this journey. Some people, I was at that place to where, you know, being absent, or being, you know, not engaging in sex. But was I doing it? You know, I had a lot of things came up, the surface. So in this process, it's different for everyone. It's letting go of this. You know, a lot of emotions can come up. You know, I had someone tell me that whatever happened to them, you know, they fear resting in the dark, because a lot of what happened to them happened in the dark, when they didn't really know what went on. But when they came to the awareness years later in their adulthood or wherever they were, you know, they realized a part of them was, the part of their innocence, what they valued the most, was taken from them or removed from them, or they didn't get to experience it to the way other people talk about it. So in a lot of that, you don't hear a lot of women and or men talk about this because we just seem to want to brush it up on the rug, and that's bullshit. Because it's okay to be not, it's not okay to just keep saying you're okay. Because what happens is that continues, and a lot of us are here to break generational chains and acknowledge is that our kids, or to remind the youth that you too don't have to experience this, or speak up about it, or be honest, and have these conversations with them, and have these conversations with our partners, because a lot of things that we don't even realize we're doing until someone comes along and realizes, like, that becomes their love language. They think that sex is just something like, it becomes more of a necessity rather than, a lot of people don't realize the true intimacy in communication, without even saying something, just simply being in the presence of someone, enjoying, basking in that. And again, it's different for everyone. I wasn't always here because at a point in time in my life, a lot of us can feel like, where was my mother? Where was my father? Why didn't this happen? You should have been there. And so that a lot of this replays in people's mind and creates anxiety around what actually sex is and how it should be experienced, because their first experience was something that robbed them of their innocence. So again, today we are going to let go that emotional, this heartstring to that sexual abuser, to that verbal abuser, to that bully, because it all connects to that. It all connects to why it is today we are no longer going to create anxiety or replay this story. You are not going today. We bind and dispel and rebuke and send that spirit of succubus, incubus, Jezebel spirit back to the darkness from which it came, because it no longer serves you now. You don't have to keep rereading this chapter, and it's your decision now. We're making it together to burn and cut ties and burn this and let it go. And in that, you accept that. And in that acceptance, and I do not advise people to play around with fire, because if you don't feel called to that, that's children's too. And we're gonna burn this and let it go today. And whatever you feel, allow the emotions to come up, because that's okay. Because people learn through visual, people learn through communication. But it's, you have the right to get back to knowing that you are worthy to have a healthy exchange with someone. If you don't feel led, that's okay, because it's different for everyone. A lot of people go on this journey because in that healing journey, a lot of things come up to where you're learning so much about what your childhood wounding is, or what really took place, past life, even up to this moment, and even in this lifetime, to see, well, what is it that I'm running from? It's different. Even if you have to visualize that place, it's challenging for everyone to get through it. So however you see fit, whether you want to write a note to yourself, to the person, and then let it go, saying that however you feel, let the emotions, if anger comes up, if all these things, feel it. Do not ignore it, because those are the things that blocks, in your root, in your sacral, in your solar plexus, these things that create blockages emotionally. So now that you can feel worthy, women, men, whatever your age is, so you know that you are worthy to walk in your sensuality, your being, who you are, so you can tell your story, so you can write about it. It don't have to be the same. So now, today, in this very moment, we let this go for good. The sexual abuser, the verbal abuser, and the bully. We let you go, and don't ever look back. And so it is. We let that go. Burn all the way. And so it is. And there you have it. We just let go of that emotional attachment. Because I tell people, love, it tells you that it's not boastful, it doesn't brag. Love is not possessive. So in a way where we feel we need to possess someone, we have to ask ourselves, well, what a part of us is trying to keep this person mended or bonded to us? It's different for everyone. I had to come to this self-realization. Why was I doing these things until it became apparent, like, this isn't love? Because if I love me more, I need not to try to feel like I need to possess or control someone by money, sex, by, emotionally manipulation, anything, womanizing, menizing, whatever you want to call it. So in that, as you let go of that and your journey becomes different, you're energetically going to let it go. And then you can, women and men, you can begin to research about spiritual baths, salt baths, yoni cleansing and stuff like that. It's a lot that goes into it because you have had a lot of stuff energetically that has been in this place. Because a lot of people don't want to talk about this. It's very graphic. Things that have happened to people like that semen or whatever it is, fluid, has been in your body. So that's a spiritual binding and attachment that we've been trying to mask and cover up. And then we're wondering why our partners or certain things don't mesh or connect because we haven't addressed these things within ourselves. But today, that's it. We're letting go. So the next one here, let's do this one. The guilt behind that, the shame, the abandonment and childhood woundings. This is gonna be so good. So let's address that. We're letting go of the guilt that you feel you should carry why that happened to you. Because life is happening for you. Now, after we burn this and let this go, life is happening for you. And we're letting go of shame. You don't ever need to feel ashamed or feel that the Creator, the Most High God, whatever your higher power is, felt that you should feel guilty or shameful for what happened to you. Because you have the power to rise above that. You have the power to share that message. No matter how uncomfortable it is, because it happens so much within families that people are afraid to address it. And that very thing that I tell people that you are afraid of, or you feel like the most resistance, is when you speak up about it. But you first got to be honest with yourself about these things. And then you got to know how that energy comes in. It's also going to come out. So no longer will we hold on to guilt or what has happened to us in our childhood, or be shameful of letting people go, or walking away, or choosing ourselves now. And in that childhood wounding and that abandonment, because abandonment is on here. No longer today will we abandon ourselves to feel like we need to fulfill others or pour into others before we have poured into ourselves. Because a lot of this isn't taught. A lot of this isn't shared. We didn't have mothers that, and or fathers. It's not everyone. Take what resonates, let the rest fly. Receive what resonates and let the rest go. We didn't have these dynamics because culturally, guilt and shame and, abandonment was something that we wasn't taught at school. We wasn't taught in universities or whatever it is in these relationships. That we didn't know that a part of us in our childhood, the unhealthy patterns and self-abusing behaviors that we were learning, that will lead us to realize how much we have abandoned ourselves, abandoning the selves of us that, the world or our mom and everybody else wanted us to hate so much. And in reality, they hated these parts of themselves. So of course they're going to project on you their fears of parts of them that they don't feel enough, or they don't feel worthy of accepting. So in reality, we have parents or guardians or people who've been abandoning themselves. And now through that self-abusive behavior, because they have self-abuse, and this goes back to abandonment. Self-abuse is connected to so much of abandonment, to where if you're out here trying to live a life that you know that isn't in alignment with love and living your truth, and you're doing things to people please, or you're doing it from a place of unfulfillment, you are abandoning your authentic self, your highest self. And everyone has been affected by this. I myself. So in that abandonment, we no longer today, we are burning this. We are no longer abandoning the self, abandoning our joy, our peace, our happiness, however you want to see it. You know, our abandoning our peace, our everything for the sake of others, for the sake of that job, for the sake of that career, for the sake of anything. Tell them, birds. So in choosing yourself and choosing me, you are calling back your power. You are choosing to rise in your power, because we've all been affected by others' projections of us. Because the world has been telling you who to be since you were coming out your mother's womb. Education, university, all these things. But has the world told you who to be? How to be you? They cannot tell you to do that. So all of us have been abandoning ourselves in some way. Because we learned that from what? The ones that came before us. That really didn't walk in that. Because it doesn't look nothing like what, you know, it's unfamiliar basically. It's foreign. You know, in choosing yourself, that's gonna look like a journey where you're gonna find very few people doing that, because their programming, and through their programming, they just so attached emotionally to, if they don't be something else, this is where the guilt comes in. This is where the shame, because they don't even know that they're masking this or walking with this, and so they're abandoning a parts of themselves. So if I don't choose me, and if I keep doing for others, it's not to say you shouldn't be of service to others, but you also should be of service to self, because self-abusive behavior, abandoning self, has to some point, you know, for people, to me, even myself, I had to become and get on this self-care journey through the fact of how much I was choosing to carry others' burdens, carry others' emotions, listen to everybody's story but my fucking own. I wanted to listen to everybody's, you know, story and what they were going through. What about me now listening to myself? I'm no longer abandoning my inner child, my highest self. The parts of me that's been calling out, the parts of me that's been crying out to be embraced, to be accepted. That's where the childhood wounding comes in. The abandonment issues. We've been in relationships, and now realize you're abandoning parts of yourself because you're unfulfilled. Because you can't come in half. A part of you is bringing in those past versions that so long we've been ignoring, that we've been hiding from ourselves. So then when we get in these partnerships, our inner child is crying out, a part of us is crying out, the abandoning parts, and we're trying to give this love, we're trying to give so much to other people, but abandoning ourselves in the fucking midst of it. And then eventually when we see that this doesn't work and we're not able to connect, that's when the guilt sets in, the shame of, why didn't this work? We're questioning our well-being, we're questioning our worth. Because our mothers, and it's not all, our mothers and fathers didn't teach us to value ourselves internally, because they didn't know that. And it's not to blame them, it's that they didn't have the resources. So a lot of us here is to break in generational curses, is to acknowledge that. To acknowledge and have those uncomfortable fucking conversations, man. To acknowledge and coming into acknowledge it and accept it, and like, wow, like a part of me is fucked up. Like, it ain't even you. Let me go check me. Let me get out of your way. Because if I don't get out of your way, you will continue projecting onto me your unhealed childhood woundings. You will project onto me your abandonment. And that abandonment can look like being in a relationship with someone who don't know what it is, because their father and their mother didn't teach them the value of love, of looking at themselves in a pure, in a healthy way, in an innocent way. So in that abandonment issues and in abandoning ourselves, we're trying to live out this narrative of trying to mold other people, shape other people in this idea of something that we're longing for that we didn't receive in our childhood. We're seeking out these things that we didn't. We're trying to fill this void or trying to feel ourselves from other people when our own cup right here is not even full. It's empty. And we keep pouring into these connections, these relationships, whether it be platonic, romantic, or whatever it is, and forgetting about the most valuable relationship is, or connection is with ourselves and our higher power, which is from within. No, a lot of us didn't know this. And so when we see it displayed through kids and whatever else, I'm able to see the wounding because I'm able to see it in me first. That's why I bring it to your attention. And through that, you got to realize that through our hearts, because this is about a love thing. But in order to get back to that divine love, do you see yourself divine? Do you see yourself whole? Not from a half place, not from what mama and dad told you, not from what society has told you, not from what church or pastor or whomever has told you. Because all these things, these people, they're trying to tell you outside of yourself that you need to go find it, go find, you know, be this, especially women, you know what I'm saying? Our women has been told so much of, you know, find this person, you know, this religious figure, or this and this and this. But what about you? Because religion don't teach you about loving you. If you don't know how to interpret things, if you don't know how to put yourself in that position to realize that, okay, am I my own main character? Or what about me? When am I going to see that I've been pouring from a dry ass cup? Abandoning myself. Now I'm learning to water me. And in that watering me, it's allowing me to rest. No more where I abandon me resting and honoring my truth. No more where I abandon the parts of me that needs rest, that needs love, that needs to, you know, take care of me mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. Then when I do that and I show up for me, then that reflects in we. Because you flip the me, the them, then you have we. Then, because somebody has to do it. That's one of the most challenging things, is someone actually having the courage to take up on and accept this journey. Everyone don't have the courage to do that. Because some people will get into something, or some people will, you know, masquerade or pretending like they're a part of this, and they don't know what it is to really do this. So in this, again, in choosing you, you'll get to a place where you're no longer abandoning parts of you that you know that no longer can be hidden. You're not going to be so much concerned about how the world views you, their perception of you. Because your perception of you would then realize that Source, God, the Creator, never abandoned you. It's you that's been abandoning you. Your mother, father, when we felt like we were betrayed or they abandoned us, a part of them abandoned themselves. So that you can see, and when you become aware, is that so you no longer abandon the parts of them. Because that's what they were here to show us. Then I no longer will abandon my mental health. I would cherish it. No longer will I abandon my rest, because we had to see our women and men go through that for so long, especially our women, that now you're seeing them fight for their right to just be joy, to reclaim their innocence, to reclaim, you know, to bask in their femininity, because that's been so wounded. And having to see that, it's not easy. Because a lot of the abandonment, or a lot of the root cause of that, has happened through their reflections or their connections with men. That first bully, the first person that they feel abandoned them, or the first person they feel, you know, all that they experience with, had to come to some type of father figure in a way. Same thing goes for men. A lot of guilt and shame and abandonment issues I was carried because a lot of what I feel that people should have protected me didn't really show me value. So a part of me at that time felt like they abandoned me. So you left me out here to dry? You left me out here by myself? And in reality, I had to realize, well, what is being shown to me that I need to do for myself? And I realized that I won't set myself up for disappointment anymore. So today, we're no longer disappointing ourselves. We are letting go of the guilt, the shame around abandonment issues and the childhood woundings. It's not to say we didn't have great things happen in our childhood. Yes, we do. But we also got to realize there's no light without the dark. So in these dark moments, we have to realize that letting go of this guilt and shame around abandonment issues and in our childhood would allow us to see the light, Because you have to go see something in the dark to realize like you're the light there. So in that today, in this very moment, we are going to burn and let go of guilt, shame, abandonment issues, childhood traumas around the guilt and shame, whatever you feel that is connected to. So we're letting this go from our heartstrings, these relationships around feeling guilty of not really being who you are. And you've always shown up as your authentic self. You haven't ever failed. You know, the shame around moving forward and choosing yourself and connecting with people who really see you and appreciate you for who you are, and not going to use what you've experienced as ammo to bring it up, to throw it up in your face, to make it seem like you should feel guilty of who you are and moving forward. Because no matter what you do and in your healing and transformation in your shadow work, you're going to have people who haven't done this shit, who project and be inauthentic. They're not real with themselves. It takes for you to do this. So we're gonna let this go. We're gonna burn these, we're burning this to let go of those emotional attachments to those very places. You know what that is, where you feel guilty or shameful or even abandoned around these places or people. We're letting this go from our heartstrings, and we let this go right now. We burn it, we dispel it, we just, rebuke it. Ashay. Make sure y'all see that burning. Woo. It is burning. That's it, right? Y'all see that? Yep. It burned. Okay. But anywho. Okay. So however that comes up, you let it go, you feel it. However you feel guided to do it, journal, speak about it, because it's gonna help a lot of us come into our own power. You're taking back your power now. You're calling back your power to you and feeling confident in what you're doing. I had to get to this place to even confidently speak about these things, to even be called to create something as such, to help aid those spiritually, like a counselor, whatever it is that, a therapist. I don't proclaim to have certification in it. No, I'm doing what it is to help inspire others that you too, can get through this. And this one right here, we have, connected to a lot of it. Emotional attachment, childhood wounds, and relationships. And so in speaking about this is that this right here, the heart symbolizes that, like, our emotional attachment, because love is something that cannot be possessed. So what are we attached to so much emotionally that we feel that we have to control it? Kids, relationships, what are we replaying? What chapter are we rereading? It's not to say you can't revise, review, reflect on these things, but are you staying there? What a part of you are emotionally binded from your heartstrings to whatever situation that has happened 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 seconds ago, 5 days ago. And what a part of you that hasn't let go? What haven't you keep telling in your mind, oh, I've accepted this. Oh, I'm okay. No, you're not okay. Because now you wouldn't be called to this video. Or you wouldn't be sharing it. Share it, by the way. I love you, appreciate you. But again, because someone else needs this. Because again, we are aiding in healing right now. A lot of us are being called in these positions. I didn't ever think or assume that my gifts would be help, bridge the gap to allowing others to be inspired to go on their journey, because a healer doesn't heal you. It guides you to healing yourself, to accepting the very things that we've been living with for so long. And so in that emotional attachment, what are we emotionally attached to? Even if you have to write it down again, and, to where you want to let go of this, I want to, such and such and such, I let go of this relationship. I let go of this attachment. Even the place that you at, I let go of this, karmically letting go of karmic relationships, karmic contracts. And those of you that do know, look it up. Things that no longer serve you. What are you still emotionally hoarding that's not yours? But you're still trying to pretend like it's okay to take on others' baggage, emotional baggage. You know, and a lot of this can affect, and I know this to be true, affect your own auric field. Now y'all want to come around and tell me, yo, these mosquitoes, you know, because we've been doing it so long, we've been listening and taking on everybody else's things emotionally to where it ain't even in us. It's not even ours energetically. I wonder why we picking up thoughts of certain things, even with exchange through sex, a lot of stuff. It's so many things, TV, so many things that, again, news, certain things we're seeing. You know, what are we emotionally attached to? And what that does, it psychologically plays on your mind. Because then you see something and it immediately reminds you, do I need to let go of this? You know, and I can attest to this. Is like, do I need to let go of this? Because what am I so emotionally attached to that I know I need to discipline myself from? Because once you realize what you're emotionally attached to, and once we let this go today, a lot of stuff is going to become apparent. You know, this visualization helps everyone. So in this letting go of these emotional attachments, who are you emotionally attached to that you know you need to let go of? Relationships, dynamics, things within yourself that you can no longer run from. I'm telling you, one of my most challenging things, and I know this is different for everyone. I always tell people, I express to people like, you have source, the universal giver, because the source is a giver. We're giving this life. We're giving these obstacles. We're giving this body, this vessel to experience, you know, to have a human experience, or whatever people want to call it, spiritual experience. To simply realize that, I believe Buddha talked about this. It's like what if I told you that your emotional attachments cause your own suffering? What are you attached to so much that you cannot shake from? And you're creating these dialogues. You're creating these things in your mind to where if everything is given to me and when I leave this world, it's going to be given to someone else. See, that's the illusion that's been given, is that you've been in a society or you've been in a place where take, rather than, well, if the universal source is a giver, then I am a receiver, only to give money, cars. I'm giving this voice. I'm giving this gift. I'm giving these things to share. I'm giving this body or certain things to even sow seeds. I'm giving these things to even plant seeds, to create another, to recycle. I'm giving this knowledge and wisdom or whatever to share it. And see, that's the thing about how, you know, through our own selfish attachment, emotional attachments, emotional woundings, you know, all these things that have gotten us to this place to where we don't know how to let go. And through that, it causes our own suffering. Because we've become so emotionally attached to a lot of mundane stuff, a lot of things, and it's different for everyone, to where we're not even, some people aren't even happy or have joy to see those people go off, because a lot of us have been affected, come on mosquito, good Lord, affected by so much trauma in our communities, melanated people, so many things that a lot of people don't see past their circumstance. So they're emotionally attached to the land, to a lot of things, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, because all these things play a part right into the physical. Until where they're so attached to something. I was like that with my art. A lot of things that I felt so beautiful, you know, oh, this is mine, this is mine. Then the Spirit was like, I've given you this to let go. So that allowed me to do the inner work and realize to be in the presence or attract people, you know, an aspect of myself, you know, that I would no longer ignore, to where I was like, you know what? My mother and father had to me, you know, through whatever traumas, a lot of stuff that they had, emotional attachments, my grandmothers, all of them, those things were past, and it stops with me to acknowledge. One of my most challenging things I had to let go, and you know, I like to say tribe, but family, my mother, father, to walk in my truth, the princess that I helped co-create. Because it was a part of me sacrificing the old versions of me that I was that wanted so much to me to be emotionally attached to pain, rather than seeing that in sacrificing and letting go of the idea, because through a lot of emotional attachments and childhood wounding, we become so emotionally attached. Like, imagine grabbing something, not letting go, attached to something, to where, how can it grow if we don't let it go? It's like a butterfly, the cocoon stage. It's not possible for that cocoon, that butterfly to stay in there, that caterpillar to stay in there. Your children, these kids were given to us so they can come through your womb, so they can show you are showing them their value, so they know that when we leave and become ancestors or whatever it is that we're here to do, whatever your beliefs to be, then to make a better world for them. And in that, we have to see the things within ourselves that our mothers and fathers refuse to see, to acknowledge. It's our responsibility now to see that those things that kept them from prospering, from expanding, from living a life holistically, harmoniously, peacefully, because our ancestors knew, the ones that came before us knew that it was us that was going to do it. Because we're only bridging, we're only the bridge for the youth or our kids. We're only a bridge for them. So in that, I myself had to learn to detach. Doesn't mean I don't love, because again, love cannot be possessed. So I had to learn my own emotional attachments to the idea that something belongs to me and me only. Oh, this is mine. This is why a lot of people now cannot run from themselves, mothers, fathers, whatever it is, a lot of things, because we've grown so accustomed to get attached to things that was first given to us. Even the powers that were, even in certain things, people were given certain things to see if they were going to abuse it. This is where you have self-abuse, self-inflicted things. When you're talking about pain, are you holding on to something through your own woundings, through your own pain? I've seen it so much where I see people that hoard, or I see people that use their children as a pawn, or use certain things to try to one up someone. And in reality, universal law, because you can go by these laws, but universal law is whatever your intention is energetically, whatever you put out is going to return. So that's the thing about lessons. That's the thing about even emotions. Emotions, ocean, emote means action. It's like ocean. They come and go. Emotions come and go. It's how do you respond to that emotion? Things come in, flood. Whew. Because in letting go of these emotional attachments, in this childhood woundings, and in relations, we know that's like a grieving spiritually. It's not so much just, in the physical transition. I had to literally grieve in a way, spiritually purge, cry, go through a lot of things in shadow work, in inner work, to even realize from a higher place that nothing belongs to me here. Some people don't know what that means, because again, it's like a bird being here, and then you're being able to see a whole different perception on life. But shit, you go to the Lion King, Simba, we are all a part of this, a circle of life, regeneration. And if you look at everything, and that's what I believe, like the Ankh is like life, because life in a way, because everything symbolically has its purpose, but the Ankh in itself is like a symbolism of life. You have the staff, you have, because everyone can perceive it different way. You have the arms, or, you can see the cross, but the circle is like the circle of life. Things that go up, it's like the man entering the woman, and that circle is like a womb. So again, things expand. You have like the clouds, the water comes down, but then it evaporates, and just same thing. What do they call that? Is it condensation, precipitation? You know what I'm saying? It's like a science to it. It's a math. It's a lot of things energetically to it. And then those, the staff, the womb, what else they said? It's something like, not the placenta, what is that women have in their body that it's symbolic to that, basically. Because energy in itself, nothing is really straight, it curves. So I can see the symbolism in how energy spirals up, and then certain thing goes at angles. The Ankh in itself, how things branch off, because you're talking about when you create and the man co-creates with a woman, that circle aspect is like a symbolism of fruit. And so in those branches, these are your own springs. Some may call them offsprings, or your seed, your fruit. And so in that life, that the man carries the seed in a way, as of now, and that seed is like his light into the darkness. And so in that light is where that light begins to expand like a star. In the black hole, it expands like a diamond from cold. It expands, or pressure over time, and it expands. Then you see the womb of the woman, and it regenerates, or it comes back out. It's let go. It can't be held onto. So a lot of things, again, I could go way into depth, but again, I don't know why I went on that little. But anywho, it was meant. So again, through emotional attachments in itself, I look at the emotions like the ocean. A lot of us are learning now, because a lot of us wasn't shown how to honor our emotions. So a lot of things right now you're going to see with people that don't know how to honor that. A lot of us are fighting for that emotional security. So in that emotional instability, we'll realize how unstable, how insecure, and how emotionally imbalanced we haven't been. Because our women that begins life, the woman through her waters, we have to see how their emotional attachments, because of so much wounding, where you're seeing a lot of mothers went through stuff with their sons. You see the psychological warfare with TV, how seeing the image of this man and little children, and so many things psychologically that makes women, in themselves, because they're naturally emotional. They're naturally nurturing and embracing. So some of their, through how these emotional attachment come in childhood woundings, is from a lot of relationship that was built over time. How a lot of the distorted mother and father, has played a major part in this. To where we want to, the focus now is so much of trying to live in fear rather than love. But letting go of emotional attachments can be very challenging for people, because they want to protect their loved ones, or, their babies so much from the world, or from the idea, and every woman, every mother has that natural connection to where it's like a lioness. She's going to do everything to protect that. And she has the right to do that. And so, again, this is the wounding and this is the healing that's happening, because a lot of our mothers have experienced this, and this is the unveiling and the healing the heart, and letting go so much of the grief and the pain that has been in the heart over time from such things that created these attachments, emotional attachment, these emotional woundings, so much of psychologically in their minds, they're playing out, what could happen, the worst instead of the best. Instead of, they're looking at life like it happened to them, life is happening to them rather than for them. And so that's why I'm here again, to help aid our women and men, especially the matriarchal, to let go today of these emotional attachments, to, no longer holding on to your mother's and father's burdens, those childhood wounds, the relationship that no longer serves you, the relationships with yourself, the past versions of yourself that you are emotionally attached to that no longer serves you. So it allows you to walk into your divinity, to walk into your divine truth, your divine love, to display that, to be your authentic self, to reclaim the crown of glory of your childhood innocence. So today, we're letting go of that. Ashe. We burn, we bind, dispel, rebuke. And so it is, and so be it. Ooh, Lord, that burned definitely. God, okay now. Whew. Whoever that was definitely a letting go. Oh man, that's not gonna harm the picture. I'm gonna just let it. Oh man, yes. That's the first one that did it all the way. Whoa. That definitely was a letting go. Oh my gosh. I'm proud of you. Individually and collectively, because that's the first one that burned like, whew. So I know that was definitely powerful. So know that when this happens and the emotion comes up, honor it however you see fit. Because a lot of us, again, through these emotional attachments, we haven't learned how to not only process it, but we've been told so much that don't cry. That's bullshit. That's wounded in itself. Don't cry. You should fucking cry. You should let it out. You should release those emotional blockages, because emotional attachments creates emotional blockages, creates dis-ease, creates discomfort in the body, stress, worrying, creates these things in the body to where your emotional attachment to certain things. A lot of women have went through a lot of things in their pregnancies, in their relationship with the men. And now we letting go and binding that up and letting that go to no longer serve it. Some may say release, but I like to say letting it go, burning it, cutting cords with that. So you can feel, and honor your emotions and have that reciprocity, within yourself, and then be able to attract a partner or someone who can reciprocate that. It doesn't stop there, people, because I will say this. Even though I do this, and to acknowledge this, is because even when you do this inner work and be on this healing journey, it's a sense of feeling worthy again and being patient with yourself. You're going to reintroduce yourself. You don't know me. Some people should still hold on to the old versions of you. That doesn't mean you have to. Some people will still hold on to the old narrative of you to avoid their own wounding, to avoid their own issues, to avoid not seeing themselves. And that is not your responsibility to make them see that. I had to learn that. Because that's what emotional attachment is that if we don't see what's in us first, we'll keep trying to seek out and trying to make people see us. And that's where the abandonment comes in, because you're abandoning the emotional aspect or these parts of yourself that mother and father or certain people didn't acknowledge within themselves. And so in that, we're letting go of those old narratives, those old relationships, those old dialogues that we keep replaying in our mind that we no longer have to. Those abusive, self-abusive relationships. And that means, not just abusive, but self-abusive. No longer neglecting the aspect of ourselves that we need to show up for daily. Showing up for ourselves, because success ain't just how much you have materialistically. Success is simply getting up, washing your ass. Simple stuff. Success is getting up, eating a bowl of cereal. Success is, you successfully did that. And you should feel accomplished in that, just as you should feel proud and beautiful now, because you were able to sit through this whole video and share it with the world and be honest and authentic with yourself now. That's a success story in that. You are the success story. You also the ones that they don't have to believe in you. You are the dang, what is that sister showing me? Oh, I gotta say this. You are not only that success story, but you are that not only unwritten story that you are rewriting. Today you are rewriting your story, because you are the main character. Today you are starting anew. And you are that dang, it's right there. You know how somebody right there. You are that what is it? Yeah, you are that, is it unbelievable story? Yeah, something like that. You are that unbelievable story. Untold story. You are that what do they call? You are that fantasy untold. But in reality, because I give people reality, because this is reality, my reality as of now, but this is my destination. Well, this isn't my destination, but you are that that unbelievable story that your family It's like that story somebody was telling me. Is it Jacob or one of those dudes, that Joseph? You know, where all those things they went through and then people didn't believe and then they were going to be exalted right in front of these people. You are that unbelievable success story that no one's supposed to believe because the vision was given to you. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm here to show you that, yes, as to I believe in myself and honor who I am and daily be my authentic self, I command my power. I command my energy. I take back my power. I stand in my truth. Because that's the inner child, my inner essence, my higher self showing up. The highest version of me that don't need to hide from nobody. I don't need to hide from me, so why the fuck I should hide from you? So in that, of course people are going to say everything because they don't believe themselves to do what you are capable of, because you cannot be duplicated. They can copy, but they cannot duplicate it. And it's an honor for someone to come along and want to copy and mimic and all like that. Because first of all, if it was given to me, by all means, hey, I don't take no credit for this, because a universal source or source has given these things to us. What do I need to? I cannot hoard it. I cannot take it with me. There is no U-Haul behind the hearse. Somebody is awaiting to hear your message. Because you are not, let me say this. Some of us see ourselves as a curse, but you are the gift. Yes, you are the gift. I keep forgetting the camera. You are the gift. I used to believe that, all my life was so this and so that, until Spirit said, yeah, the curse followed you until you realize that, yes, in that accepting that pain, no one can really curse what, Jah has blessed. Or, the Most High has ordained or anointed. You yourself are that. It ain't about who's the chosen. You're chosen to be here. So you and yourself are chosen. You are elected. You are the one that is sent here and we all have that free will. We all have that choice to loop through things or choose to accept, ascend, embrace our aspect of ourselves that our mother and father and other people are not going to do until we do it. No one's going to believe and care as much as you. You can attract people. I will say, yes, in this moment, what's happening is that we are aligning with those divinely that see us, see all that you are and appreciate all that you are. Not point out what they feel you're not doing good enough. That's a reflection of their own insecurities. That's their projecting their own bullshit that you don't have to receive. So in that, baby, you were given a gift, love. Brother, sister, you were given these things. No one else can do it better than you. No one else can do this better than me. So why should I be concerned about if somebody doing this better than me? Because it was given to me. It wasn't given to them. So use it or abuse it. I love you. Peace and bliss. Shalom. Love on yourself. Did you love on yourself today?